Congressman Scott Perry joins us right now, Pennsylvania congressman. He's a Republican at that committee, Oversight and Accountability, House Freedom Caucus chair. He's the big guy. Always good to have the fine congressman. Good to have you, my friend. Let me ask you a little bit. I know you're not a market guy, although you're pretty savvy at it. What do you make of a market that seems to be saying, yeah, inflation's a problem, a stubborn problem. We're okay with that because we think we're through the worst of it. I know this isn't your bailiwick, Congressman, but what do you think of that? Are the markets chasing a dream, or how do you see it?
I think, Neil, from the folks that I talk to every day, contractors, people at the grocery store, everybody is girding their loins for what they think is coming. They don't know when or how bad or what it looks like. But in the meantime, they're hanging on and taking advantage of what they think are generally as good at times as they can be under the circumstances. So I think it is a little bit of Pollyanna, but I also would say, look, a lot of folks have been saying the sky's going to fall for a long time, and it hadn't fallen yet. So, you know, we're poised to spend more money in Washington, D.C. and throw more fuel on the fire, which I think is just going to force the Fed to just increase interest rates anyhow to try and control that fire. And I think this song just continues. But a lot of people are doing, you know, somewhat well in this circumstance, even though a lot of people are not.
No, that's a very good answer. You're going to steal my job away from me, Congressman. Let me ask you now, this push on the part of Kevin McCarthy and your colleagues, or Republican colleagues, not all, but and I don't know where you stand on this, to pursue an impeachment inquiry against the president. I'm not taking sides on this, Congressman, but you just mentioned a number of economic issues like this stubborn inflation, where the markets are getting ahead of themselves. And you could make an argument that the impeachment thing maybe divides the focus when Republicans have a very strong issue right before them, the economy, the inflation. What do you think of that?
Well, I think that most people, myself and many of my colleagues included, can do two things at once, Neil, just like you can. So, yeah, we know that we have the fiscal
Congress. No slight to you, sir, but that's what the concern would be. And some of your colleagues, precisely because of that, didn't want to mess with this impeachment thing right now. What do you say to them?
I think we unfortunately we're duty bound. The evidence has taken us to the place we are. And we're not going to get much further. So there's no way to either clear the president or continue on the current track, which is to add to this mountain of evidence that appears to show corruption, potentially bribery or extortion and influence peddling. We're not going to be able to do either one of those unless we can finally get the information that has been held from us. And the only way to get that is through this impeachment inquiry. So maybe there's some reluctance to do it, but we're duty bound. The American people need to know. And of course, the evidence just keeps mounting up, whether it's FBI whistleblowers, suspicious activity reports, more information from emails exchanged between the president and his son under false names. All that stuff just keeps adding up. And so we know that we have the fiscal situation to deal with. We are focused on that. At the same time, we have a duty to keep on this track of accountability. It's a dual role, and I think we can do it, and I think we will do it.
You know, there were a couple of your colleagues, Congress, who are not very keen on Kevin McCarthy, the way he handled this, and furthermore, maybe the way he negotiated. All right, I'll pursue this impeachment inquiry if we keep together on the spending thing and don't push the government into a shutdown. I don't know how much of that was true, but are we going to have a government shutdown?
I sure hope not. We are not shooting for that. We would like to see the appropriations bills passed, but I think we have to recognize, Neil, and your last segment talked about it, these inflationary pressures are making it difficult for my bosses, my constituents, to afford their groceries, their gasoline, their electricity bills. Heaven forbid you have to buy a new car now, let alone after the strike where the price is going to go up that much more. And so this is part and parcel to Washington, D.C. spending addiction, and we simply have to find some reconciliation here where we start driving the spending curve down. And of course, my colleagues on the other side of the building in the Senate, they're actually interested in spending more. They don't even want to abide by the deal that they agreed to on Memorial Day. So that's the problem that we have. Well, we have to roll up our sleeves and get to it here and send a product over there that is respectful of the plight of the American people who are suffering.
All right, we'll watch it closely. Congressman, always great chatting. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, Neil. God bless you.
All right, Scott Perry.